other CEO might have said, well, we don't need golf, or
Right.
well, let's not spend 10, 15, 20 million on the golf course. It goes to Pete, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And it started with Pete when the decision was made in 2012 to go ahead and close the course and the facility down for a couple of years to really modernize it, redesign the golf course, enhance the facilities, bring it up to a state, kind of its original glory and better, and make it even better than it ever was when it first opened in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, it's really led by Pete to just continue elevating the property, and I remember when I was being hired here that Pete, when I interviewed with Pete, his number one charge to me, number one mission was just create outstanding, memorable experiences for the guests. Yes, you'll have a budget, you'll have finances to manage and so forth, but unlike a lot of places, that's not priority number one. Priority number one is experience and just make it, it's like I want people to walk away from here knowing they were just experienced something special.
What did the U.S. Senior Open do for you guys? Are there some tangible things you can point to and say this is what it meant to us?
Absolutely. I mean, just from a perspective of the exposure that came from that, it's been off the charts, the tangible results that we've seen from it, or the difference that we've seen from it. We noticed it immediately while the championship was going on last year, and in the couple of weeks following the championship. I don't recall the numbers off the top of my head, but it was many times over the number of bookings that happened during that same period, that than had in any prior year. And now, a year later, to look at, kind of what kind of rounds of golf business we have on the books, say right now for this season compared to what we did right now for last season, it's almost doubled. It's like 176% of what it was in that same time period. So you have to think the championship is a major contributing factor in that, and leading to that kind of increase.
You guys obviously have built a great relationship with the USGA as a corporate partner, as the insurer of the USGA, and the championships you've had here. The two of them have been exceptional. What's next? I'm sure you guys are looking to the future and want more things here.
Yeah, absolutely. This golf course proved, both in the U.S. Girls Junior and especially last year at the U.S. Senior Open, that it's a championship test. It's a championship venue. It can challenge some of the best players in the world, and so that's a great question. What is next? We're looking at that in the very near term. Next year in 2025, some of the world's best junior girls will be here again. It's the AJGA Rolex Girls Junior that we'll be hosting next June. Top 72 girls on the rankings will be invited to that invitational. So we're looking forward to hosting some of those top world players on the girls junior level. And then beyond that, it's unknown at this time, but I can tell you there's certainly an appetite to keep hosting high-level golf here, championship golf, and so we're looking forward to seeing what that next is.
Quite a few of the players that I talked to at the Senior Open last year said, put the tees all the way back, grow the rough, maybe pinch the fairways a little bit, you could hold the U.S. Open here. Of course, you probably need 5,000 more hotel rooms in the region, but I mean, it's that stronger course.
It is, yeah. That certainly speaks to it. Yeah, you think about the actual logistics of hosting a U.S. Open, and maybe there's some limitations there where the area may not be able to support it. But from a pure, if you just take those, that caliber of player and put them on this course with the tees back, I think it could challenge them every bit as much as any other U.S. Open venue could.
What kind of feedback are you getting from golfers who have the experience there of the 20-minute tee times, the concession, the stops, 4 stops, I guess, around the course, and grabbing all the food they want. And what are you hearing from golfers about that?
The golfers are loving it, and when we first launched this concept, I'll say that we expected, there's 2 key components of it, right? There's the inclusive food and beverage on the golf course, and then there's the 20-minute tee time intervals. We expected the fully inclusive food and beverage to kind of be the star of the show and the wow factor that people got really excited about, right? We did the 20-minute tee time intervals to make sure that people had time to stop and enjoy those refreshment stations and not have, a whole train full of, golfers coming up behind them and pushing them. But what we found is that probably even equally, if not more so, than the food and beverage, the golfers are excited about the 20-minute tee time intervals, because you get out there and by the time you tee off, the group in front of you is halfway down the second hole, and no one's teeing off behind you until you're halfway down the second hole, and you just don't see that in golf very much right now. I mean, I think what's unique about it right now is with the COVID boom that we've had, other golf courses are packed, right? They're full, and golfers are used to just being in a long line of golfers and being right on top of the group in front of them and having someone right behind them. So it's refreshing to come here and have that spacing and have some flexibility and play a little faster if you want to, play a little slower and more relaxed if you want to. And then the conditioning that comes from it. I mean, a lot of golf courses are a little beat up right now. I mean, they're experiencing a record number of rounds of golf, which is great for their business, but maybe not great for the consumer in some ways, because there's more ball marks and there's more divots and there's more stress on the turf from cart traffic and all that. And so here to have half of all of those things, half the golf carts, half the foot traffic, half of all of it is allows us to keep the course in a condition that people just aren't really seeing at other places.
When you look at the modern golf, the golf that's being built today, Sand Valley, Bandon Dunes, Cabot, it's 95% links, brownish, fescue, not many trees. You have the opposite. You have the old school, traditional Parkland course here. The magazine ratings, I don't think, do this place justice. Is it a matter of getting more raters here, or is it a matter of some people just have fallen in love with that links kind of?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that is definitely the links style, or the more minimalist, style is definitely what's more trendy right now. It's what the new courses are that are being built. This is more of a, it was said, by the broadcasters last year during the U.S. Senior Open, this feels like a throwback, old school U.S. Open, East Coast type of country club type of course, and that's just not, it's not what the profile is of the new courses that are being built, and a lot of the ones that are being highly rated. We love the style we have here. We embrace it. We think it's got an incredible championship feel, and especially where we are in Wisconsin, it's different than a lot of the other top 100 level courses that are in this state. We've got some phenomenal properties in this state, and some great top 100 public courses, but most of those are that other style that you referred to, that more links or a little bit more rugged feeling style.
Do you guys feel like you have the best public access Parkland course in the Midwest? I certainly would vote it that way.
I certainly would say so. I'd have to look long and hard to see if there's anything. I can say there's none that I've played that I would put above this from a public access Parkland style in the Midwest. So I'd certainly welcome that challenge. Yep.
Do you get a lot of repeat customers, which tells you you're doing a good job, but you must also see new people experiencing SentryWorld. When you see those people, how do you know that they're new, and what do you try to do to make sure that they fall in line with the others that keep coming back?
Yeah, well, you can certainly tell when someone hasn't been here, because they pull in and it's just the last everything that they expected to see. When they see just the building from the parking lot, they see the inn, they see just the grandness of it all. It's, you know, it's a little, I think it takes people back a little bit. They haven't even seen the golf course yet, and there already is a wow factor, like, whoa, this place is there's something here, you know. So and we hear the comment all the time, like even before they've gotten on the golf course, they're just walking in the pro shop and checking in. They're like, this place is crazy. I don't know what is this place, you know. So here in central Wisconsin, in the middle of, you know, Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So yeah, it's a really fun position to be in, to kind of see that reaction, and then to see them as they come off the golf course and be like, wow, that was just such a different, unique experience. I mean, there's a lot of great golf experiences out there, but this is just, especially from a public access standpoint, just different than almost anything that you're going to find anywhere.
You've kind of gone from being the high-end golf course to being the high-end experience, you know, not unlike the great steakhouses of the country, not unlike the great resorts in glamorous places. You now, in addition to providing a great golf course, you're in the hospitality business, you know, basically head first, and that's, I'm sure at times daunting, but at times I'm sure that's the thing that the staff looks at with a great deal of pride.
Yeah, absolutely, it is, and it's, you know, it's a big shift when you go from, you know, from a golf course to a resort, right? Because now, you know, when we build that 64 room, you know, hotel, and now you're a resort, you're a destination that someone is coming to stay there, and everything's got to be on point, right? From the check-in at the room to the, you know, the amenities in the room, and the service there, and the restaurants available, and the service there, and the, you know, other activities that you can do, obviously the golf. So it really is a full experience now. We're very proud of what we have to offer here in that way.
When you create such a high level niche, there's a thing that a side of me that says you don't want to, when it's working, you don't want to change it. But if you don't change something subtly each year, each, you know, decade, then it becomes stale, and then all of a sudden you're wondering, where do we go wrong? Exactly. How do you make sure and strike that balance each year to continue providing the service and the experience you're providing, but yet move it forward?
Yeah, you've got to be very, very intentional about it. I mean, we're thinking about that all the time. We're having meetings about it. We're brainstorming about it, because, you know, exactly as you said, if you're not doing something to improve and get better, you're just going to be getting passed up by, you know, I always, you know, used to, and still do, you know, use that kind of adage with, you know, with our staff, with our professionals, like, hey, keep working to improve yourself, to improve and enhance your own, you know, skill set and abilities, or you're going to lose ground to everyone else out there. And I feel it's the same way at a high level property like this. And I've talked to people at other high level properties that say the same thing, is you just have to keep finding ways to push the bar higher, to expand your offerings and enhance the experience, because staying the same and doing the same thing is not gonna do it.
How would you describe the vibe here? Because it's so cool. You've got PJs, you've got people sitting outside. Probably a lot of non-golfers come here and eat from the community. You've got a 100-yard walk to the inn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really cool vibe here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, the vibe is really neat because it's a resort, but it's not. It's a nice little compact resort, right? That you can really get comfortable and get at home with. It's not spread out and sprawling over, you know, it's not a 10-minute drive from one end of the resort to the other. Everything you want to get to here, you can basically walk to or take a 1-minute shuttle ride to, you know, something along that line. And it's, I think that kind of the vibe that we get, that people tell us they really like here, is that it's elevated, it's luxury, but it's comfortable. You know, it's not stuffy. You don't feel like you have to be wearing, you know, a tie to come in here or something. You can be casual when you want to here, but just everything is is on point from the amenities and the cleanliness, and kind of it's got just that little bit Northwoods kind of relaxed vibe feel to it. Yeah.
And the inn was the final piece. I mean, you guys needed an inn here. What has that done for the whole experience here and for the golf course?
Yeah. The inn has just been an absolute game changer for our business, and really for golf, it's been a game changer in the guests that we attract here. You know, because there's just such a convenience to having that, and so many travelers are just, if you can't stay right on site, they're not going to visit the property. You know, I mean, it's a requirement for so many. Like, I want to come park my car for whether it's 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, but I want to be able to just golf and enjoy the restaurants and do my thing without having to commute around, around town and that kind of thing. So it has certainly opened doors in that way that we never had open before, and then just from a larger group standpoint as well, much easier for a group that's traveling together, of whether it's 12, 16, up to 30, 40, 100 people, to have that amenity is just complete game changer.
You, a couple years ago, celebrated 40 years, I believe, of being open. Where do you see this place in 40 years from now?
Gosh.
And will you still be here?
Yeah, right. I'll be here till they kick me out. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere, that's for sure. I love this place.
And are those part of those discussions, or is that too far into the future when you're sitting around brainstorming to even wonder what 40 years looks like?
Yeah, we're not necessarily forecasting or thinking that far down the road, I would say. It's more of a, we're looking at a year or two, we're looking at 5 years, or maybe looking at 10 years, something along that line. So hard to say what it could look like in 40 years. Who knows? I mean, it's but I can tell you this, and just in the last 10 years that I've been here, it's almost unrecognizable the amount that it's changed. I mean,
True.
It's been, I could spend 20 minutes, talking through all the different changes and projects and things that I've seen, and probably forget half of them
Right.
in that time. I mean, it's just, it's pretty exciting to think about what's happened in 10 years and where it could be in another 10 years.